The ego mind is hilarious, but only when you begin to transcend it, maybe, because when you're deeply submerged in it, it makes you suffer. And I have a perfect example. Like I used to fantasize like all the time about moving out and stuff. And when that thought came in, it really lowered my frequency because it was obvious that I couldn't do it. Like even if I really, like I started working real hard and start doing and start trying and like even with my best effort, it's just really hard. Okay, let's put it like that. So then one day, let's call it the day of the realization. It was a few, but the funniest one to me was I had this urge to sort of reorder the way that the furniture is arranged in the apartment, just to, I don't know, so I could work better or whatever it was. But I had the energy to go work and not the whole reordering, like reorganizing. And I started laughing because I was like, so your mind was telling you like, imagine how cool it would be to reorganize all the furniture, this could go there, and this painting could be over here, like this whole plan, like huge, right? And then, so it was envisioning how then I could be able to sit in my computer to work, and it was creating this vision through imagery. It's like, look, the painting will be there, and the new chair could be here, and this is so cool. We should totally do it. So then the next time we sit to work, it's going to be like a higher vibe, you know, it's like, I don't know, like, it's more like a more Instagram reality, we could say, of, you know, it's like if someone else was, I mean, I wasn't really thinking about it, it was for me, but like, let's just put it like this for now. It was like if someone else was watching you work and be like, oh, that looks so cool, the painting is there, like this type of bullshit. So then that raises your frequency. And the way that I realized that it was fake and imagery and imagination was because then I felt like going to work, like grab my laptop and get on the chair and stuff, but like I just felt like going to work. So it was like there was no energy, no real energy backing the whole plan. I just wanted to work on the academy or whatever. That there was energy for that. So the whole thing that the imagination constructed was just that, pure imagination. If there had been any real energy, which is not from the mind, behind the whole reorganization plan, then it would have happened. I would have like almost enjoyed doing it, you see? So then this connects into the whole moving out fantasy in the sense that if there was any real energy backing up that plan, then I probably like would be doing it already. But no, the ego mind uses the fact that it's not happening right now. Maybe it will, but that it's not happening right now, and just to lower your frequency. But one sort of consents, especially when you don't know yourself that well. So the way that this could connect into singing is that I was always fantasizing, even if I wasn't thinking about it, I was living in that frequency of what if just by the continuation of the practice that I'm doing every day, which basically entail a sort of like going to the gym approach for singing. So it's like, I'm struggling to hit the G4. Okay, well then let's get up to the F#4 every day, muscle up, and then if we keep the repetitions going, then I'm sure the G4 will show up eventually, right? In a few months, consistently. Well, it never happened. It almost got worse in a sense, at least just to depolarize, because, and it was a blessing in disguise, like I said on yesterday's video. It's like, in a sense, if something like that makes you hit rock bottom, then you abandon the efforts of the mind, and maybe some intuitive knowledge comes through on how to actually get those high notes without straining like a retard. So now a lot of people living inside their heads, they might think they are in a higher frequency because in their heads, they are a tenor. They're winning, you know? It's like winning and losing are just two sides of the same coin, and the coin is the mind. So they might think they're embodying a high frequency, yet simultaneously, they get scammed the most. This is what happened to me. It's like if you're in a really high frequency, which is not through the mind, then you don't get scammed a lot because it's the seeking of being a tenor and failing at that, you know, like the wish of just getting the high notes naturally without any effort. That then makes it so you can get scammed because the vocal coaches, they promise a way that you can just get it by modifying your vowels all the time or some magic little bullshit hack that you have to apply all the time, but at least it solves it forever. And you might be saying, yeah, that was not my case because like I couldn't even identify with being a tenor and that I was winning because in fact I was failing at hitting all the high notes. Well, it doesn't matter because you're still playing. Like if you're losing the game, it's because you're still playing the game. This is how the mind tricks you. So then you might think, well, but I was in the losing victim polarity anyway, so of course my frequency is going to be lower and I get scammed. And you'd be both wrong and right at the same time, because if you're actually losing but not participating, we could say giving up, which is why people always mishear my message. I'm saying like, no, you should just give up and surrender and like do it from falsetto and stuff like, oh, so you're weak, gay, retarded, and lazy, and like they attribute all these negative qualities to this because they're hearing the message with the mind. No, this technique makes you sing like Chris Cornell, like live show. It's peak as fuck. It's S tier plus, you know. So like, yet paradoxically, you can only get to it after your mind is surrendered, because if you're trying to get it from the mind, you will literally believe that there is a little magic hack and configuration that you can do that will just fix it forever, instead of having to do the whole work. And people might think, oh, well, your academy, you say fast results. Yes, but like there's real work in those fast results, and it could vary. Like for example, this new student that I'm working on one-on-one, he is breaking records. The way that I see it is way faster than the so-called 3 months advertised man in the box one that I made a few years back. To me, he's doing stuff that took me 8 years with the help of my guidance, but obviously if you have to do it alone, I do believe that you can do it in like, 2 days. It's fucking insane. But see, he's not a gifted singer in the sense of the ego, how the ego perceives it. Oh, gifted, like I just get it and I woke up and I was born and I just got the high notes. This is what the ego wants. And then when you don't get that, you get scammed a whole bunch, because they are promising you like that life that you couldn't have to your ego, not to you, the soul, which is, we say, aware of the ego, or doesn't need of language, doesn't need of identity, doesn't need of, anything. It's just like the soul, like a baby. They're not thinking, right? So if I say people who surrender, they join my academy, people who are giving up, people who hit rock bottom, it all seems super negative, right? So then how can it be like, then you say, but you sing like your technique is as good as Chris Cornell or something, some bullshit, right? Yeah, I genuinely believe so. I believe that it's like power at the same level. And it's not an ego trip, because I know that my students can get the same thing. So it's not like I'm trying to jerk my own shit off. No, I'm saying like that's like the technique is S tier, because you can sing live with it and all these things that all the other techniques can't do. So you're saying like, well, so then you're saying you need to give up, surrender, accept the defeat that you're not a tenor, and it's all this failure and this surrender and blah, blah, blah. But then also you're like the best singer ever. You can become, yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be paradoxical to the mind, because the mind is based on duality. The etymology of mind in Italian literally means lying. So it's not really that I am like, I come here and be like, let's create confusing paradoxes so I can sell courses. Like it's just like the truth, and every real truth, truth with a capital T, we could say, not the truth that is like a little truth. Like, for example, you have light, right? And then if you create light, darkness begins to exist as well, right? Because you create light, then no light gets created as well. Basic teaching, like a 0 and a 1, or a 1 and a 0, So then you think that the opposite of the truth is a lie, but it can't be, because the opposite of lie, you can make it to be no lie, just like with light and no light. But then if I'm not lying to you, it doesn't really necessarily mean that I'm saying the truth. So there has to be a truth with a capital T that's transcendent of duality or outside of the mind. Like I said on a previous video, I could be saying shit, right? And then I'm like, someone says, well, but I don't believe in what you're saying. Like, I don't believe in cats. I'm like, there's a cat right there. I don't really need like your belief on it. So this is type of the truth that I'm speaking of here with this vocal technique. So then the biggest curse that is a curse to your ego mind, because it had its own fucking plans and shit that should have happened, and like this should have been like this, I should have had a girlfriend that was blonde, not brunette, like all this imagination bullshit. To him, it will feel like a curse, right? Like I said on yesterday's video, your shitty vocal break is your biggest blessing, but only if you're smart. Now, it's not really if you're smart, it's actually if you're not really living inside of your ego. So it's not ego smarts, like intellectual type of smart, like, oh, I memorized a lot of books. No, it's like, just like, you can see things. You can get the best actor and manipulator in front of you saying some super polished bullshit and he has 25 sources for each statement. You'd be like, if he's lying, right, which you will assess with your intuition, be like, okay, so he's lying. I don't know what he's lying about. I don't know why he's lying. I don't know what the real truth is. Maybe if he's talking about something that I'm not knowledgeable of, but I can tell like his vibration is off. So that's kind of all you need. So for the ego mind, if they start to go not the way that they would have hoped, it is seen as a curse, right? Now, to your soul, we could say this same curse could be the blessing. Now, let's use a real example. So I'm not being so abstract, right? You could have like it happened to me, addictions or stuff of that sort, like that causes a lot of suffering, like relentless, and you can't get out of it. You know, some people will be saying, but you should try this, you should have tried this, you should have done that, blah, 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 blah. It's like you lack compassion if you're in that stage. Not that I'm judging you because I was also in that stage, but I'm just saying the truth. It literally means that you lack compassion, because you should at least get the hint that, for example, some people just quit cigarettes, right? Like in one day, even if they've been smoking for a long time. Some people, apparently my grandfather, he smoked cigarettes, or he smoked cigars or something, and he didn't even get addicted to them. And some other people, they can't stop smoking. He just smoked like on occasion, or like, I don't know, on a holiday, like super, like once a year, twice, 10 times, like on occasion, right? Other people if other people start doing that, they like become so hooked, and then when they try to quit, they start going insane. They can like get psychotic. So I'm not judging you, because I did this, and I did this recently. If you're in that stage, which maybe you're not, but I'm just saying, like, for example, I saw this girl on Instagram, and she said like, oh, because I relapsed with nicotine after a funeral. And I was like, are you seriously punishing yourself for that? You know, that was my ego, because I went through like hardcore, you see, I just did it again, like just out of habit, because I don't fucking know like how to speak sometimes. Like the language kind of makes you compare everything. I'm not saying one addiction is worse than others, but for my ego, that's what I meant. My addictions were worse, right? No, that's the stupid part. You know, it's like you can't know. You think yours was worse because porn is like heroin, and you're addicted to porn, or you took like harder drugs or whatever. But like, no, like, dude, some other person could be just again smoking weed, and for them, like, that makes them go fucking insane, and they need to check themselves into a rehab. So clearly that was a worse one in a sense. So you can't generalize. In each case is individual. This is obvious, right? So then once you get really crushed by life, it sort of like dismantles your ego. And then even if the mind could say stupid shit still, like what I just said, like with the girl, oh, seriously? Like, you're gonna punish yourself that much for a nicotine relapse? Like, come on. Like, even if I could hear the mind saying that, I didn't, or like, I don't identify with it anymore. Here you can say, well, I mean, like, I used the word, like this condescending word just now, but it wasn't, I don't really feel that anymore. You know, it's like you stop identifying with the language. I don't really see her as, oh, she suffered less and she's inferior. She should know what my suffering is like. Maybe at my worst, like many years ago, I could have done that, you know? But now it's like you see the pattern and you could laugh, you know? It's like with the whole furniture rearranging. It was like, so you wanna, it was twofold. It's like, so you wanna move out, apparently, but you don't even have the energy to like rearrange the furniture. So like, it's not realistic. But in an even smaller scale, it was like, so you wanna like reorganize your office, we could say, but you like, like you barely have the energy to just sit in the current office and work there. So it's like, what are we doing? You know, it's like waste of energy, the mind. So this is what it's actually meant by giving up the whole tenor and baritone and vocal fuck, I don't know how to pronounce that, but like the vocal classification delusion. So then that allows you to transcend the mind and work with your real voice, we could say, because all that is unreal. It is happening within your imagination. You can say, well, but some people have thicker vocal cords. Yeah, cool, I know, bro. Like, there's males and females, supposedly, and they also differ, but like, the problem that I'm pointing at, if you can even understand this, because people always mishear me, is that it's one thing if you have thicker vocal cords, and you're just being yourself, and you're singing outside of your mind, sort of like a little kid maybe, or you have the thicker vocal cords, and also on top of that, you throw in a huge layer of identity, which is saying, oh, because I'm a bass singer. And then if someone says like, I don't think you're a bass singer, then you get defensive and no, but God, this is the ego mind. And I did it also, but I did it on the, what was it, the other polarity maybe? Okay, so when I start selling courses, I start saying, well, because I had the baritone curse, right? And then what I meant by this is I couldn't hit the F sharp 4. It's like a tangible reality for me. But then people start being like, but you're not a baritone. You don't know the struggle. You're not a baritone. Like, you're not a baritone. Like, they get defensive. But then at some points, especially if I was doing kind of bad, for example, if I just relapsed with an addiction or whatever, I just couldn't handle it in a sense. And I also got defensive. It was like, like a huge retarded mess, right? When you transcend it, they could tell you say... That's the thing, they thought that I was saying something that I wasn't saying. I wasn't really saying like, okay, so I went to the most professional voice classification determination system ever and 20 different teachers analyzed my case and they all concluded I was a virgin. No, it's like, I went to 2 real life teachers in this case that they said that they thought that I was a baritone, but even then they said that they were just saying that because I struggled to hit high notes. You see, so it's not really the vocal proper classification definition where it's like your vocal timbre has a specific quality or whatever. In fact, I think the only time that someone who I respect, he had an opinion on my vocal timbre. He said like dark tenor. I don't know the exact Italian word he used, but like dramatic tenor maybe. But the point being, I couldn't hit high notes with my chest voice. So you could think I'm a bass or you can think I'm a soprano. The point is, without the mind and the imagination, it's still a fact even to this day probably that if I try to hit notes after an F sharp 4 for more than 20 to 30 minutes, I'll end up fucking exhausted and my voice will crack a whole bunch. So this is what I meant. And then their ego mind, they heard whatever they wanted to hear, right? Because they have an identity about how they went through the real suffering, or like they don't know the struggle. So you see, if that was true, like you don't really need to fight about it. You could say you have the thicker vocal cords, but you don't have all the mental identity around it. Then everyone can just say whatever they want about their voices. You'd be like, okay, like. But now the people who deem themselves a baritone mentally, they were never open to even the idea of transcending it. Then these are the people that will get defensive. So these people, well, they can hear my message, but for those who are slightly open or coming out of it, this is the point or the spot where you have to give up and surrender. Once you're on the other side, to be honest, your frequency will be even higher. Like these singers like Chris Cornell and stuff, they had a huge, super high frequency, right? So what do you think? They got that frequency by identifying with mental labels about other singers created an operatic Italian, whatever the fuck classification system. So then when they're singing, instead of really performing and giving them like their all and stuff, they're thinking about like, okay, so I should do this next note like with a lower whatever the fuck because I'm a dramatic tenor or whatever. Like, what? Like, in fact, and now we could get a little spiritual, the fact of thinking itself lowers your frequency, and also simultaneously the fact of having a lower frequency produces more thinking, or even thinking as a whole. So yeah, this is only for those people who are really ready. If you want to work with me, you have the one-on-one plan, right? That would be more like a month of coaching with me, in the sense of we chat every day and send audios to each other, and I can assess your own personal case and little conflicts that arise. Or you have the super cheap, by comparison, option where you are self-taught. You want my guidance, but also you're self-taught and you enjoy not talking to teachers, which I respect. That's how I was probably. So the academy is like super polished for that, because you have apps and tools and an assistant that helps you. No, it's not AI, by the way. I hate AI. I mean, I use AI for coding, but so like to help the website run smoothly, but all the educational content, there's no AI there. And then you have all my videos. It's like 10 hours, 11 hours of stuff that you can watch. The method and the apps that help you practice with the method. So like, as I always say, it will be, if you join the last singing academy you'll ever join, because like it works and you have everything you need there. And if you're like me, where you enjoy this learning alone type of stuff, I mean, it's perfect for you, because I designed it for my younger self. Like I said On yesterday's video, they dropped me this comment on the Axl Rose one, like, oh, you take 10 minutes just to say something all falsetto. It's like, yeah, because it took me 6 years to realize it by myself. After I got scammed a whole bunch, and then even when I didn't get scammed, the teachers looked at me like they couldn't help me, you know, like I was doing something wrong. They didn't say that, well, maybe one did, but like one was genuinely trying to help me. He was a genuinely good person with a heart. And he was not inside his mind. Yet the fact that he was a natural singer made it impossible for him to help me, even if he wanted. So that's how bad it can get. And then it makes sense that when you crack the code, we could say, and you share it, then yeah, you could take 10 minutes just to share about like something that for natural singers is so minuscule. Like, you know, they didn't even need to watch my first course, which is like free right now if you want. But like, or even if they watch it, they'll be like, overthinking much, bro. It's like, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Like, yeah, because obviously if you're just like a higher tenor, or you have like peak health, or a combination of both, then yeah, you never detected your vocal break in this sense. You could just mix in the sense that you switch, but you don't know you're switching. It's so insane. So they think they are still in chest voice, but they oftentimes they switch. And my course sort of threatens their identity because they want to brag about to other people on Reddit and stuff, how they just hit a C5 in chest voice. And I could like, I mean, I don't want to argue anymore, right? But from my teacher, the one that I just gave the example, he allowed me, because he was really humble and nice, to use him as a test subject. And he was a professional opera tenor, like literally sang in theaters and like Nessun Dorma. That's how I met him. But then like I told him, can you at least try to make it happen from M2? I had to explain what M2 was. Like I'm not saying he was like retarded. In fact, I'm retarded. Like I had to create all this framework and stuff because I'm retarded. Like I'm not coming from that place, okay? So what I'm saying is I had to explain what the exact laryngeal mechanism switch and how to stay. And then I was like, can you try to make the note happen from there? You're operatic. And he could. So then when I see, it's like first-hand knowledge for me now. It's like when I see one of these tenors bragging, I mean, there's some extreme cases, but you'll be able to tell instantly where they are actually in their M1, like some vocal coaches, but you can tell because they sound like a donkey, but that's like a whole different ordeal. I mean, it's not even worth talking about that anymore. But even the good ones, they could be mixing or switching, but they don't know it. And this is like really crazy part here. So I'm talking to the 1%. I'll see you soon, guys.